Welcome back to N2 the Chatterverse, where two gents share their 2 cents on pop media. I am Victor Dandridge, the hardest working man in comics.
And I'm Bill, and I've OD'd on Matthew McConaughey over the weekend.
All right. Wait, what qualifies as an OD? How much Matthew McConaughey did you get over the weekend?
I think it was 4 movies.
Which ones?
I started out with The Gentleman.
Okay.
And then
That's
I went
that's
rom-com from there.
That's not bad. Okay, so you went Gentleman, you went How to Lose a Guy, 10 Days.
Yeah.
Did you do Failure to Launch? And then
There was something else.
Okay, all right.
I can't remember.
It could have been Wolf of Wall Street? No?
No.
Okay,
That's not
all
a
right.
rom-com.
I don't know. It depends. It depends on how you're feeling.
Yeah.
Funny enough, for that movie, okay, this is no joke. No joke.
Mm-hmm.
The former CEO of Wizard World, the Comic-Con company, is married to the real person that Margot Kidder. No, not Margot Kidder. What is her name? Margot Robbie. That's her name.
Yeah.
Is playing, and like he would tell us through the basis of that movie that that's who he's married to. He's like, you know, Wolf of Wall Street. I'm like, yeah. You know the chick that Margot Robbie plays. We're like, yeah. He's like, that's my wife now. And I'm like, Margot Robbie or the actual person?
Right.
And he's like, no, the actual person. I'm like, we saw that movie and it's very interesting things that it
How
depicts.
true to life is
Yeah,
it?
I'm like, so your wife's a colorful lady, huh? Never met her though. All the
Yeah.
years that I worked there, I'd never met her. And he's still a pal. Love John. He's awesome. But it was the funniest thing that's how he would tell us about his wife. And I never met her.
Gotcha.
So very funny. Not bad though. Not bad. I mean, that's a good mix of McConaughey. I do like that. All right. So what we are here to talk about are the mini announcements from D23. What got me that kind of, again, puts me in one of those spaces of, I never even thought of this. It was at the same convention center that WonderCon is at. Is that correct?
So D23 is, yes.
Okay. So we could go to that.
Yes, but the announcements were made somewhere else.
What? Are you serious?
It was made at the Honda Center.
No, I thought that was all the same. Oh.
Unless the entire con is
Yeah.
at the Honda Center, which I kind of doubt. The announcements were made at the Honda Center.
Okay.
So not only did you have to pay for your badge, but you
Right.
had to pay for a seat.
Jeez. Okay.
So it costs, if you want to sit in the upper deck,
yeah.
it costs you $460.
Whew. All right,
That's
so
a 3-day pass.
We'll watch it on.
And let's be honest.
Yeah.
When would we go? What would be? We would have been there Friday night.
Yep. Come back.
And then we're like, do we really care what's being put in at
on
the
Sunday? No.
So Saturday was the parks,
Right.
and I don't care.
No.
And then Sunday was the Legends.
All right. So okay. We could make it a vacation where we go for Friday, we go to a park on Saturday, and then go for. I would like to see the Legends once, depending on. Do you know who gets inducted into the Legends, or that's something
I don't know if
find
you
out?
know ahead of time,
Okay.
but I mean, like John Williams was this year.
Like that's dope. And Harrison
Steve
Ford.
Steve Ditko.
I did see that.
Which I was like, and I'll be honest with you, I never knew that there was a Hall of Fame, and that's what this is.
No idea.
So I was like, I scratched my head at Steve Ditko, so I looked it up, and it was like, I think it was 2017.
Yeah.
When Jack and Stan were.
Got you.
But also,
Steve would not want this. Steve would hate it.
Well, it's just funny because Harrison Ford.
Yep.
Okay. Harrison Ford's been in technically 5 Star Wars movies
Yes.
and 5 Indiana Jones movies.
Yes.
And he was inducted this year.
Yeah.
Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill were inducted a long time ago.
Were they really?
Yes. I think it's about the same time as Jack and Stan.
Okay.
Somewhere in that.
Okay.
If not before. But
Carrie was posthumous.
well, I don't know. That's the thing is I don't know if it was posthumous or not.
Okay. Is that how you say that?
Posthumous? Yeah.
I always thought it was posthumous. Oh, we're not going to edit that out. Wow.
Yeah. No, you're screwed.
Dang it.
You're absolutely screwed on that one.
At least it's not post hummus. I knew it wasn't that.
Well, it's good that's not hummus.
Yeah, that'd be bad. Yeah, let's see.
Disney with two Y's.
Miley Cyrus was there, not inducted, correct?
I think Miley Cyrus. What? Oh, I mean.
Okay, all right, we got classes.
Hold on.
Yeah. Wow. Miley Cyrus and Harrison Ford inducted in the same year.
Yeah,
Okay.
along with Kelly Ripa.
And John
Williams. John Williams being down. Okay, that's just. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but like, I'm not gonna go and say John Williams should have been the first year, which was Fred McMurray, he was the only person inducted. But come on.
Yeah. No. I mean,
You're talking about my childhood,
right? Were they waiting for a majority of his catalog to come under Disney?
Well, I mean, they already had
I mean,
Star Wars by then. So what
dang
difference?
it, that's true. I was trying. It was a big reach. No, you're absolutely right. Johnny Depp
Yeah,
before
2017.
Wow.
Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill,
Yeah.
Jack Kirby, Stan Lee.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oprah over Harrison Ford? That's wild.
yeah, yeah. So and Whoopi Goldberg's up there too.
Yeah. No.
I would
no.
say she's probably more Paramount, right? Guinan.
I think so. I would definitely give
Well,
you that.
there's
Danny Elfman over John Williams? No. I'd have to flip a table.
yeah, Well, I mean, there's a lot about this that like I get, but also come on.
Yeah. That's wild. Okay. All right. So in terms of D23, I think one of the things that I am becoming more and more aware of is that it has been an ongoing thing. I don't know why that it's within like the last 4 or 5 years that D23 ever came on my radar. I did not know it was a thing.
Well, but it's an every 2 years thing.
Is okay. All right.
That's
that makes me
why,
feel a little better.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
It would be like Star Wars Celebration. That's every 2 years.
That's
also.
okay. Also true.
Except
that makes me feel
but
so
that
much better.
travels,
Right. Because last year it was in London, I think.
and I think it's gonna be in Tokyo the next one.
Right.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
And that's on odd years.
Sure.
And then D23 is on even years.
Sure.
Okay. But for what it is it supposed to be by design truly something for the general public, or is it specifically supposed to be for stakeholders? Who is this actually for?
It's well, you get it's for everyone.
Okay.
Because Chrissy goes. Chrissy
Okay.
went this year.
Okay. Got you.
She was. I asked her if because I asked her if Friday was worth it. She said, "Oh yeah." She went over everything I'd already read,
Got you.
and then did the same thing on Sunday with everything. I'm like, and it's the park stuff. I just don't care.
Okay.
Also, there weren't any dates with the park stuff,
So
which
who
I
knows
don't.
when that's
Yeah, but
actually gonna happen.
and congratulations, they're Villains Land or whatever it's called.
I mean, that's cool.
yeah,
That's
but
cool.
that's also not. That's in Orlando. It's not in Anaheim.
No, that's true. That's
But
true.
because Anaheim only has so much room anyway.
Also true.
And
Also
there's
true.
plenty of swampland in Orlando.
You can build and
so,
build and build
yeah.
all you want to. To that end, and I guess we can ask Chrissy at some point, what is the biggest difference between the presentations that you see at D23 versus the scale and presentation that you see in Hall H? Obviously, you got Marvel Studios having a presence at both, but like in terms of scale, like is there more performance? Is there more, is it just announcements? Like, because
It seems to be a show,
okay,
but I don't think it's much different than what we get at Hall H.
okay.
Like they're standing up talking.
Yeah.
But there's videos playing as well.
Got you.
There was more trailers.
Okay.
There, they still haven't like released.
No, very true. Very true.
But I have seen like
Some of the things.
crappy images, and I was like, because I'm like I was shocked that Zootopia didn't already have a sequel.
I am too, actually.
I was like, okay,
It did well, and
yeah, and then I couldn't remember if it was like actually like a Disney property, or if it was like a Fox property. But it
was Disney.
It's a Disney property.
And wasn't it Disney proper, like not even Pixar?
It's just Disney.
That's right.
Disney Animation.
That's right. See, I guess my biggest question is like, do you get to ask questions?
I would have to go with no, and
Okay.
if you did, you'd have to be on the floor, and those seats are not cheap.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so I think there were like 12 or 14,000 people there.
Ah, that's nice. It's a bigger stage than Hall H, that's for sure.
Okay.
No?
No, it is, but okay. So this is what they did as far as the Marvel movies.
Okay.
They did Captain America.
Right.
They did Fantastic Four.
Right.
And I know that Florence Pugh did something.
A teeny tiny bit of Thunderbolts.
All right. So. Okay. and well, I mean, granted, we got a little bit more.
We did.
We got the Russo brothers.
Right.
We got the announcement of Avengers 4 and 5.
Right.
And we got Robert Downey Jr.
Right.
And to me, that's worth more than everything on here.
I can totally get that. And I guess that's kind of what my question was in terms of there being a bigger stage of people, especially people that had to pay per entrance and seat.
Yeah.
Do you make that a bigger sort of get, by being there to make it a little bit more worth it? I mean, not for nothing. Yes, it can be expensive to go to San Diego, but if we can just spend time outside and wait in line, we got access to a crap ton of stuff that it didn't cost us seemingly as much.
Right,
to do this.
and that's also the rub there is you don't have to wait in line thing.
Okay.
But it's the same argument I hear every year.
Yeah.
How much time are you actually spending indoors?
That's a real question.
There's only so much, many times that you can walk the floor and go, well, I really want to stop there, but there are thousands of people on the floor. And then there's times there's stuff in Hall H or any other panels that you want to go to, or do you really want to go to those?
Right. It might not even be your thing. So
yeah.
it's a
also, if you're with enough people, you can plan that out if that's what you want to do.
Swap out, swap in, all that goodness.
Yeah. We got out there at 1:30 in the morning. For me, that's 4:30. The only problem was I was on like 2 hours sleep. But we got out there. And, I just lied down. I took a 2-hour nap.
Right.
It's not that bad.
Okay.
I don't think it's that bad.
I wanted to do the comparison to see, like, in terms of scale of experience, because I think that's the biggest thing is I fully have an understanding of the experience of Hall H, but I don't have an understanding of experience of this. Is there, any key things that would be like, no, this is why D23, people might do both, because they want that level or an either or type thing.
Well, I know that there have been years where they've announced more at D23.
That makes sense.
But I think that we're at a point now where Marvel and Lucasfilm, not so much Disney and Pixar, but they're only announcing things that are like,
coming.
Yeah, because where's Blade? I mean, we don't know what's going on with Blade. It's even off the schedule.
I did see that.
But like there was nothing else.
Right.
As we're not hearing any other thing. And the only thing we heard as far
Shang-Chi 2,
as
nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only other thing we heard about from Lucasfilm was Mandalorian and Grogu.
Right.
As far as movies go. Now, I think my biggest problem with that is that it'll be almost 7 years between Episode 9 and this movie. And I'm like,
that's a gap.
That's a tragedy is what that is.
Yeah.
Because there's like,
especially if we're supposed to pick up with Rey, like that's a long time.
Yeah, but the thing is that we shouldn't go that long without a movie from Star Wars ever. I am of the mind if they were talking about putting out two movies a year,
right?
Which I had no problem with. The only problem is that they
could.
Well, the writers' room thing. If they don't have a plan, why make a movie?
Right.
And
don't make the movie to make a movie. Make a movie because it's good and that's what you want to do.
Right. Yeah. And that was the Bob Chapek way of doing things also. But also the problems that Lucasfilm was having was before Chapek.
True.
It was, and they even someone made the comment of George selling out was the problem. I said no, George selling out wasn't the problem.
No, that
George
opened up
putting
a lot of opportunity.
Kathleen Kennedy in charge.
I mean,
okay, I could see where it makes sense because
Yes.
she's a producer on all these movies,
Yes.
and everyone loves her. And,
Yes.
and she apparently does a great job
And she had a good track record
as a producer.
outside of.
As a producer,
Yes. Yes.
but that doesn't mean that you know how to run a studio.
I can't argue that at all. And I think that's one of those very key sort of creative conversations that needs to happen more.
Yeah.
Because I think, again, and it's kind of, again, not to take everything back to San Diego, but when we sat in the producers panel, we learned more about what it is to be a producer.
Right.
And then seeing, I guess, as a foundational building block, if you can produce well, ideally you should be able to be ahead of a studio. But do those things necessarily correlate?
Right, and
that's the question.
Are you paying attention to do that?
That's a really good one. That is because are you thinking head of studio, or do you still have a producer's mind?
Yeah,
Because those are two different things.
I will take it to this point.
Yeah.
Like Jonathan Frakes.
Mm-hmm.
Say what you want about him, but he played Riker for
Yep.
years, and he always wanted to direct. So he went to what's called Paramount School.
Yes, he did.
And he soaked all that in, and he paid attention to what all the other directors were doing, and he's beloved at Paramount, especially as far as Star Trek goes, and he was for a while as far as features went until Thunderbolts.
Really?
Yeah,
Was that the?
is that what it's called? I think it's called that. It was the live action version of the
puppets?
The puppets.
Yeah.
It tanked.
He did that?
He did that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he did. That tanked, and he's just like, that's where his feature career died.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not. Thunderbirds.
Thunderbirds. Yeah, Thunderbirds.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's paying attention
Yeah.
to those kind of things, and knowing what you need to do.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes
So
sense.
I'm not saying Kathleen Kennedy is a bad person,
Right.
because I don't know Kathleen Kennedy.
Fair.
I know that she has a great track record as a producer, but as the head of a studio, she's
so
not.
much.
No. I mean, if you're looking at the numbers, yes.
Yeah, but
because-
you got to do more than just look at
I know,
financially.
but the idea is
Yeah.
that she, her movies average $1 billion, and you can't argue that
no, you
point.
cannot. Those numbers don't lie.
And she has an original show that's
Yeah.
a big hit,
Yeah.
and then another show that's a big hit, Andor. And people watch the other stuff.
Which I guess if that's your benchmark for success, as long as there's eyes on it,
Yeah.
it's hard to argue.
But also the Disney Plus movies
Yeah.
or shows. That's not just a Lucasfilm problem.
that's true.
That's
across all Disney.
That's a Disney problem.
Yes.
And they need, as much as Terry Matalas, who did Picard, and it did 12 Monkeys. I never watched the show, and apparently was on. He worked on Enterprise. It was like his
okay.
first gig, one of his first gigs.
That's not bad.
He worked for Brandon Braga. So Picard it's a long movie,
It is.
except each episode kind of plays like an episode, as opposed to, though the first two episodes are really they're slow. They're slow. Whereas like the Star Wars shows, you watch that, you're like, the first episode's like, oh, it's okay.
This is pretty good. And then it gets into a sludge. No, you're not wrong.
Yeah. So, they need someone that's going to
Pay attention. Pay attention.
Which brings me back to like the Disney Plus stuff. If you look at, Daredevil,
Yeah.
it's supposed to be 18 episodes.
18 episodes. That's a lot of potential runtime, but
Yes.
we don't know the runtime yet.
But even, I think 18 episodes at, if it's a 25-minute block,
Yeah.
I can live with that. With the 18 episodes.
But they have to be good 25-minute blocks, though.
They have,
Like, that's the problem.
with 18 episodes, it's hard for 18 episodes to be good.
Yes. And I think that's a very real question mark piece here, right? Because especially as we determine it's going to be released weekly, right? Or incrementally at least, right?
I think I haven't seen anything that says that they're going to like,
Just dump it all at once.
yeah, I can't,
Okay.
because usually when they dump it all at once,
It means it's not great.
It's not good. Echo would be that.
Also true. But when you have 18 episodes, that's a huge investment that you're asking for people. What is the risk that if there is that traditional lull that you have, we'll say midway through, 9 episodes in, people stop watching? Is that, like, with 18 episodes, can you risk that?
Well, so if that's 9 episodes in,
Yeah.
you've already got them for 2 months.
Oh, that's true. Okay. So chestnut checkers, if you can get them to the halfway part, that's potentially $70 million in through subscriptions at the very minimum.
Sure.
Okay.
You know.
All right.
But I think, and even if they like dumped them 2 at a time,
Yeah.
that's still 9 weeks.
Yeah.
So that's still like 2 months.
Still 2 months.
Okay. But like Ironheart's 6 episodes long.
In scale,
Yeah.
it does not say as much.
And then you get Skeleton
Iron-
Crew at
right.
at 8 episodes. And someone asked me if I watched the trailer. I go, no.
No, because if it's only 8 episodes, you'll see it all with the trailer.
Well, there's no point for me to watch the trailer. I'm going to watch a show anyway, and all it's going to do is like it might get my hopes up.
And you're
And I'm not.
you don't want to do that.
I'm not at the point where I want to do that.
Yeah.
I'm just like, because I have a friend that he won't watch anything
Right.
Star Wars related until Kathleen Kennedy's gone.
Wow.
And I'm like, I can't argue that point, because we were talking about Acolyte,
Yeah.
and another buddy of us. We watched the first episode and we're like, it's not bad.
Right.
He's like, I refuse to watch it. And then I'm like, I'm not arguing it.
You got to the point where you go, and this is why.
Yeah.
This is why.
And it I can't say it fell apart,
Right.
because I was never at a high level.
Wasn't quite put together
It was
enough
just
to
like-
fall apart.
It was what it ended up being what it was.
I
I'm not,
gotcha.
I had to pick and choose what I'm like. I found a couple things about it I liked.
Right.
But for the most part, it was just like,
That's something to watch.
It was a long movie that really didn't work.
I like it. Okay, so with this breakdown, we've got 20th Century Studios, Pixar, Disney, Lucasfilm in terms of movies. Is there a slate here that you are most excited for out of that bunch? Even if it's just like there's only one slot filled, but it's the thing that you're most looking forward to. Counts.
I gotta be. There's nothing on here.
Not a one.
I didn't see the second Avatar.
Okay.
I never saw Toy Story 4.
I don't think I did either, actually. So, all right.
I've kind of given up on animated,
Okay.
except for like Spider-Verse.
Okay. I get that. I get that.
So, Elio and Hoppers, sure, whatever. Never saw the first Zootopia. I've never seen Frozen. I don't.
You're missing out on Zootopia. I think that one's very. It's different.
And
from
maybe I
any
go
Disney
back to
piece.
that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't care about a live action Snow White. Never saw Freaky Friday. Never saw Lilo and Stitch. So a live action Lilo and Stitch doesn't
Doesn't do that for you either.
I'm not even going to discuss Monster Jam. Tron is an IP that I will never understand. Like
as to why they made it or why it's
why
not
they keep
working?
making it.
That's an interesting one.
Why
Okay.
it doesn't work is just that to me the stories aren't compelling. Like the idea of the story
Yeah.
is great.
Right.
It's the execution.
It just
Like,
doesn't hit.
I was a kid when the first Tron came out.
Yeah.
And I wasn't super impressed by it. And then I'm like, oh, okay, well,
Technology has changed.
Yeah.
Graphics are different.
I see a poster every once in a while that reminds me that Olivia Wilde was in the second one. And I love Olivia Wilde. And I'm like, keep forgetting that
She's in there. Big shout out to Garrett Hedlund. I actually worked with him in Philly this year.
Yeah.
And it was funny because apparently I could explain ISOs better than he could. Because somebody asked the question of like whether or not she could heal herself in the real world. Like, why could she come into the real world? And I was like, well, he was like, I don't know how to answer that question. I was like, well, because the ISOs were self-generated, there's no telling as to what it is that they can or can't do. No one knows. So her going from the grid into the real world is fully possible. And we just don't know what sort of effect that will actually have because they weren't generated by anybody. And he got up, I kid you not, and like bowed to me, and I was like, stop it. He's like, no, that was a perfect explanation. He's like, even it made sense to me, and I couldn't answer that if I tried. I'm like, oh.
Well, I what you would say would resonate with me if I could remember the movie.
That's what happened.
I was just like, I remember bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Like, I can remember what it looks like and some of the people in it. But as far as the story goes, I'm a complete blank on it.
No, that's fair. I mean, because for the most part, Tron as a property is famous for the elements of Tron, not itself.
Yeah.
Like the graphics the first time were revolutionary for when it came out, I suppose. It was.
They were, and no, the idea was that they were computer generated.
Right.
Which was
At the time, that's crazy.
Which is like, oh, okay, that's nice.
Right.
It still wasn't great.
But it was the
Right.
idea of, hey, we had this idea, we executed on it, and look what this is. Like,
Yeah.
interesting. I'd say the same thing about the second one. Legacy had far better visuals, obviously, because the graphics were better. The costumes were brilliant.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there was the early acts of de-aging that we had with Bridges. So
And then you forgot Daft Punk.
no, that's still perfect to me.
Well, no,
actually.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
that,
no, that's still perfect.
That,
I
that's
still
like the
listen to
one
that
thing I
soundtrack
can remember
today.
from it is the Daft Punk.
Because they were awesome. So yeah, I think like this is one of those features that is known for the elements behind it, not necessarily the project itself. So I am curious as to what this is going to be, because as I understand it, Jared has nothing to do with this, or Garrett, not Jared. Garrett has nothing to do with this, but it does star Jared Leto, you said.
Yes.
So I'm very plexed. Not con, but
I mean, the
plexed about
only
where
way
this
it could
is
be
gonna
worse if it said Tron Morbius on it.
go. Tron Hades. That's what we'll call this one. Dark.
And then, the only Lucasfilm movie coming out, Mando and Grogu. And I'm like,
I'm disappointed in that name, if I'm being honest.
I'm not sold that is the name. Because
Okay.
they still have 2 years.
Before it's supposed to come out.
Yeah, and they could change the name of it.
I really want them to, because I don't. So, in a weird sort of way, I'm somewhat fine with Star Wars taking on the names of the characters that they're about. But I really don't want it to, because it doesn't say that it's a part of a bigger story. And I think that's what made Star Wars work. It created a world that you could fit within. And then once you start labeling these things as individual characters, it becomes so concise that if it doesn't work, then you've killed something. Andor is the only one I think works, because I don't think we realized that Andor was his name. Like, for the longest time. It wasn't, like, me personally, I didn't. I thought Andor was a place, not him. And so, for me, it's never been an issue like, oh, they're making an Andor. Oh, okay, that's a place. Oh, no, it's a guy. Oh, sweet. But everything else, from The Mandalorian to Ahsoka, all of these things become so very focused.
Well, I think when you're talking about TV shows,
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it focusing on a character.
But when they do it for a movie.
For a movie, it does make things smaller.
Yeah.
But they've been doing that since the get-go.
I guess.
The galaxy far, far away is really just,
Around the corner.
around the corner.
Couple
It's,
places.
8 of 9 movies.
They went to the same places
Same
over
place.
and over. No, that's true. That's true. So, out of this bunch, I can tell you I am curious the most out of Avatar Fire and Ash. I did see the second one, and I did like what they did. I'm not saying it was as good as the first one, but I'm curious as to how James Cameron will push the envelope more.
Well, and that's the thing about Cameron is that that
That's what he's going to do.
Yeah, there's going to be something that he has made.
Yeah. That's. But he's one of the few directors that I'm still excited, because when he's directing, I know that there's going to be something.
Okay, well,
wanna see.
and I could agree with that,
Yeah.
except the first Avatar to me was boring,
I mean,
and
it's Pocahontas,
and
so I get that.
it wore Dances with Smurfs, except the Smurfs are 10 feet tall.
What I will tell you is that what he did in the second one is he literally combined his 2 highest grossing movies in terms of subject matter and theme. So it is Avatar and Titanic put together.
And then he makes 3-hour movies,
He does make 3-hour
and
movies.
I'm like, he's not going to keep my attention long enough for me to watch a 3-hour
I got you.
movie.
I got you.
It's rare that happens anyway. I just like, I love what he did with Terminator 2.
Right.
I love what he did with Aliens.
Yes.
I especially love what he did with The Abyss.
Oh my God, that's a classic. We don't talk about that enough.
As far as what he does with special effects. Yeah. True Lies is a great movie. He's got a great.
He tells stories.
He tells
very
good.
well.
And as much as like Titanic wasn't my movie, he got people to come out to a movie that everyone knew at the end of it was, and not to mention that movie was delayed twice.
Was it really?
It was.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Well, yeah. When you hear that, you're like, okay, this movie's garbage.
Yeah.
And then
you see what happens. You're like,
not only is it garbage, but it's almost 3 hours long. And
you're like, kill me.
And then all of a sudden, it's just breaking records left and right. I'm like, good for him.
Absolutely. In fact, Titanic is the reason why I don't like Rogue One. If I can know what the ending is going to be and have two characters that I'm supposed to follow and actually care about, Titanic did it much better than Rogue One did.
Yeah. To me, it's not about knowing what the ending of the movie.
Right.
It's the journey.
Yes.
And it's always, the exception to that would be The Sixth Sense.
That I agree with.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah.
I get it. Which was. So many of his movies were just ruined because you look at it, you're like, okay, I know what the end of this is. Never mind. But if you can't tell a good story, and a lot of people think that they
can,
did,
no.
I just the whole idea that I'm supposed to care about these people when I don't really know anything about them.
Nothing. Then what's the point? Yeah. No.
And on this list of all the things that are there, like the Disney Plus stuff.
Yeah.
Like. So Inside Out series, which makes sense because
it's doing gangbusters.
Yeah, 1.5, almost $1.6 billion.
Listen, if they don't do that, that's stupid.
Skeleton Crew, I'm gonna watch. I'm not gonna care about.
Right.
Andor,
definitely gonna watch.
Yeah, and you know what? This is supposed to be each 3 episodes is a year.
Oh wow. Oh, I like that.
So it's supposed to lead into
Rogue One,
and that may make me go back and watch Rogue One.
It might make me care about it because to know.
Yeah.
I'm curious if we'll see Jen pop up in Andor at all. I'm curious.
It wouldn't make much sense if she did.
As a story beat, like 1 or 2 episodes where we see how her interaction with the Empire puts her where she ends up, where she's captured by them.
The only thing I know for sure is that Krennic is back.
Yeah.
And so is K2SO.
Okay.
Which makes sense.
I mean, that's all I care about because K2 was the best character in
Right.
the whole thing.
I'm just not excited about Agatha.
I was not necessarily as excited, but then I saw the presentation performance of it, and I had a question of whether or not it's a musical. If it's a musical, it has my attention again. Because I think that will be fun to watch just in general.
For 9 episodes?
Yes. I like musicals. I do like musicals.
For 9 episodes.
It's got to be good. I'm hoping it's good.
Okay.
But like that's me.
I hope they can hold a note between episodes 1 and 2 for you.
We will see.
Yeah.
We shall see. Because that's just in September, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And Ironheart, I don't care about. And then there's Daredevil.
Yeah.
Which is what, reboot-ish?
Yes. Reboot-ish with a lot of work to fit it into the MCU, because we've already established Kingpin, we've already established Daredevil, and now we're going to bring in Punisher and the rest of things.
Well, you established that they're there, yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So,
but even I think those characters aren't, like, I think that Daredevil will be the same. I don't necessarily think that Kingpin will be the same Kingpin that was in
Echo?
Hawkeye.
Okay. You think he's going to be characterized as different?
I think so, because he was a little too powerful.
Okay. So you're going to ground him a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nerf his powers a little, I guess.
Yeah.
Though, if that's the way it was portrayed in the Netflix series, I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Right.
Because I don't even think they like totally used Daredevil properly.
No, they played at it. And they played at it well, but no, there's a lot of things that they could have done with Matt.
And I did really like the Daredevil series.
Yeah.
I've never been a huge fan of the comic. Mm-hmm. The series was great. That series was great. Yep. That was about it. But yeah, the Daredevil is the only one that I'm really looking forward to, and I have more questions.
Got you.
I'd also like to know how seriously how far into it they got to it.
Mm-hmm.
Through it before they finally went, no, we got to do this right.
I'm curious about that too. I wonder if it was Chapek's removal that did it, or what? Like what?
I think it's combination. Well, so when Chapek came into power, he took away power from everyone.
Yeah,
outside
he consolidated for himself.
Well, he got his cronies in there that were just numbers people, and not
critical. Because man, it fell off.
Yeah, and the idea was to boost Disney Plus as much as possible, so they were pushing out content left and right, and it got away from them. And they announced that I think just before he left, and they were going ahead forward, and I'm sure at some point Feige just went to Iger and said, "This isn't working." He's like, "Okay,
then fix it."
Yeah,
and he's like, "Oh, sweet."
Yeah,
it's the way it should be.
Well, my whole thing was I heard it was 18 episodes to begin with. I'm like,
I remember.
Everyone's like, "Oh my god, it's 18 episodes." I go, "Is it 18 episodes or is it 3 seasons at 6 episodes apiece?"
Right.
And then when I look today, it's saying season 1 is 18 episodes.
Yeah. I do believe that that's been the ongoing statement that it is all in season 1, 18. What I do question is, does that set a standard for the rest of any sort of seasons that come out? Should we expect a drop, or should we expect it to be somewhere near that that's the level of storytelling that they want to do with this series of works, where they are, essentially not movies, but needing to integrate back into the MCU as a whole. And so they're going to be big things like this if they are platform characters like that. I'm very curious about that.
I look at Ironheart.
Ironheart's not a platform. She's not a platform character, which is what I mean. Like,
I get it, but still, why would you just go with? It's got to be an A character versus a B character, or C. Why only caring about those? If you are putting out product, that product should be no different than any like Avengers movie.
You should believe in it in that same scale. That's fair.
I could see, I can see with Ironheart, if they went, we can give you 6 episodes, but do with it what you can to tell a story that's compelling enough to get to another season, or a feature. Or part of a feature.
I thought it was going to be, my estimation was that Ironheart was supposed to lead into Armor Wars, which had started off as a show, got bumped to a movie, and that's why it was 6 episodes, because it's supposed to be the lead in.
And that may be it. Okay. But also we haven't heard anything about
that's true.
Armor Wars.
That's true.
And I actually like that, is that like, so we haven't heard anything else about the movies, which I think is a good thing,
because it means that they're working on building stuff and not just saying.
Yeah, we may be at a point with Disney where they're like, okay, the only way we're going to announce something is if we have something concrete. We have if we have the directors and the stars on hand,
right?
We'll probably want the script as well, and definitely if they're in like pre-production, like they were in pre-production for Mandalorian Grogu. Right. I think they are with Ironheart. They may have already
shot it. I mean, it's possible.
I have no idea.
They announced it a long time ago.
Well, they announced Blade 5 years ago.
What I mean is that while they announced it a long time ago, there's been actual stuff shot featuring the character.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, Blade had that verbal piece in Eternals. So not enough put down to be like, and we've got this locked in. Like, we've at least seen Ironheart in a feature that was moderately successful. So I expect them to have jumped on way quicker for anything with that one than not. So,
Yeah.
okay. Overall, there were some interesting things, listed from D23. Nothing that really blew me away, though, if I'm being honest.
Nope.
Certainly not coming after Hall H, which, I mean, I guess Disney as a whole not making a presentation in Hall H, I think, is a very interesting thing, considering that they have D23. So maybe that fully explains as to why they don't. But I really was interested in more things. Number one, fewer sequels. I did not love that most of these things are sequels, remakes, or something.
Well,
to that
the nice
effect.
thing about the Pixar is that 2 of those are original.
Yes,
2 of the 4 are original.
2. Like, out of everything here.
Yeah, but at least they have original. The only original under Disney is
Monster Jam,
and that's an IP.
Yeah, and we don't even really know what that is.
Yeah.
So
It could be animated. It could be live action. It could be live action animated. The only thing I know is that The Rock is involved in it.
yeah, and that's all we know. So I guess that's really one of my things there, is that I was really disappointed by how many sequels or remakes were what was announced, and I'm like, is that where we are? Is this post strikes? This is what we get?
Well, it's just
For a while, like,
it's been IP driven for a long time.
Yeah, I guess
we can have the argument about people not going to see original content.
Well, people, let's change that, shall we? Gotta make that happen. But I'm not even saying, like, it's not even a matter of that the original, or that the problem is the sequel. It is that in it being a sequel, you're not necessarily making it a franchise. And that's the thing that I think I'm looking forward to now. So, like, instead of Toy Story 5 being Buzz and Woody again, give me different toys. Give me something else. Because Toy Story as a franchise should grow. There are more toys. Like, there are plenty of other things that could be played with. So
I think all they do is add more toys.
Right. But let's change shifts and let's go to a totally different toy, because the same rules would apply for what this world works as. All the toys are still alive. Let's go for it. Like, let's see some things. But I don't know. Maybe that's me. Maybe I should put myself in one of these higher up positions so I can start making these decisions. Yeah, Victor, you should do that.
I will say this. Halloween 3. Got away from Michael Myers.
It did.
Yeah.
But is it a good movie or not?
No. It wasn't a good movie to begin with.
Okay. Wait, you're saying Halloween is not a good movie?
No, Halloween was fine.
Oh.
But it was Halloween and Halloween 2 were hits.
Yes. Halloween 3.
Halloween 3 was not only not a hit,
Right.
was not a good movie.
So there you go. Key thing first, make a good thing
Yeah.
before it's all about attaching it to a franchise. But
you know, when you change things up,
you do run the risk.
Yeah.
You do run the risk.
Yeah.
I get that. Well, on that note, we will let you guys go. Comment below on what sort of projects that you saw that you are super excited about, and which ones might not be your flavor, because we definitely want to hear about that, and we'll definitely chat it up with you about them. Once again, for N2 the Chatterverse, I'm Victor Danders, the hardest working man in comics.
and I'm Bill, and apparently can't stand sequels.
And we'll be back with another show.